Hi there, Mrs. Findlay here. So welcome to Thursday's lesson. We're going to do a couple of starters as usual, and then we're going to get on to our algebra work. And then tomorrow's lesson we're going to basically just cover, again, recap everything that we've done this week, because there's been quite a lot to take in, I think. So anyway, these two starter questions, have a look at them. If you reckon you know what you're doing, then just pause it, and then you can scoot on to the bit where I'm giving you the answers. Make sure you're okay with those. If you're not sure what you're doing, then stick around just now. So, first question. 3 friends decide to share a £1,236 prize in the ratio 1 to 2 to 3. So we've got a 3-way ratio here, and we need to work out how much each person gets. Okay, so our ratio is 1 to 2 to 3. So that gives us a total number of shares of 6. Okay, so the total prize is 1,236. And remember how ratios work is that if one of these is multiplied by an amount, then they all have to be multiplied by the same amount. So in order to work out what has been multiplied by to get 1,236 from 6, then we need to divide, okay? Because basically we need to find out what one share is worth. There's 6 shares there altogether. We need to find out what one is worth, and then we can work out the other 2 people's prizes. Okay, so if we do 1,236 divided by 6, then 6 into 12 is 2, 6 into 3 doesn't go, and 6 into 36 goes 6 times. So one share is worth £206. Okay, so what that means is that the person here with 1 share, they get £206. The person with 2 shares gets double that, so they get £412. And the person with 3 shares gets 3 times 206, which is £618. And so that's how much each person gets. And we can check that we're right. If we wanted to, we can add up the 3 amounts here and check that we get 1,236. And you can do it if you like. I've just done it in my head and it works. Okay, so second question, find the mean and range. So to find the mean, remember what we need to do is add up all our numbers and then divide by how many there are. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to add up all these numbers and then divide by 8. I want us to do this without a calculator. Okay, so what I don't want you to do is start writing out 34 and 42 and 60 and so on, and then try and do a big long addition where you're working your way down the line. We don't need to do that. What we can do is just be a bit clever and look at the numbers that we've got, and I've purposefully set it up so that we can do this. Okay, so looking at the numbers, can you can you see any that go together to add together to make something easy? Right, well look here, we've got 40 and 60. So we've got 100 to start with, so that's nice and easy, isn't it? Then, look at the units digits. Can you make 10 with any of them? Well, here's 34. There's 36. 34 and 36 makes 70. Again, pick another number, 42. Anything that we can add to that makes it nice and easy? We've got 28 there. 42 and 28, again, makes 70. Okay, then lastly, we've got 29 and 41, and funnily enough, they make 70 as well. So, if we add those all up, we've got 3 lots of 70, so we've got 210, add 100 is 310, so we're needing to work out now 310 divided by 8 to get the mean. So 8 into 3 doesn't go, 8 into 31 goes 3 times, remainder 7, because 3 8s are 24. So 8 into 70, 8 8s are 64, so that's an 8. And we've got 6 to carry, but remember we've got nothing to carry it onto there. So we're going to put a 0 in, but we must remember and put a decimal point. Okay, 8 into 60 goes 7 times, 7 8s are 56, carry a 4, add another 0, 8 into 40 goes 5 times, and we're finished now because there's nothing else we need to do. Okay, so the mean is 38.75, and the range of the numbers is, just remember the range of a set of numbers is just the biggest one take away the smallest one. So the biggest number there is 60, and the smallest number there is 28. So the range is 32. Okay, so the mean is 38.75 and the range is 32. Okay, so that's our starters done then. Let's have a look at today's work. So here's a recap of where we've been up to. We're just going to look at where we're going and where we've been. So we started off by doing these first few items. We multiplied a bracket by a single term, and then we simplified those expressions. We multiplied 2 brackets together when they had 2 terms in each bracket, and yesterday we looked at multiplying 2 brackets together where one of them had 2 terms and one of them had 3 terms. So what we're going to go on to today is multiplying 3 brackets together. Okay, so just to look ahead a little bit, we're then going to go on to factorising. So that's putting the brackets back in. So we're going to start with common factors, which is something that you've all done before anyway at National 4. And then if you've not done National 5 before, everything else here will be new. Okay, so I'm expecting that the factorising section will take at least 2 or 3 times as long as the multiplying out section has. Okay, so we really need to be good at this before we can do this. Okay, all right, so moving on then to multiplying 3 brackets together. Okay, right, we actually already have the skills to multiply 3 brackets together. All right, so if we're thinking about our aim being to multiply out 3 brackets like this, they're quite simple brackets, but you can see there's 3 of them. So if we're going to multiply out 3 brackets, what we don't do is just start multiplying randomly. Okay, there's too many terms there to start doing that. So let's have a little think here. How would you find the answer if I gave you 3 numbers to multiply together? Well, would you not just multiply 2 of them together and then multiply by the third? Okay, so we could do 4 times 5 is 20, times 2 is 40. Or we could do 5 times 2 is 10, times 4 is 40. Or the last combination is we could do 4 times 2 is 8, and then times our answer by 5, which is 40. So if we're multiplying 3 things together, it doesn't matter what order we do it, but the sensible thing to do is to multiply 2 of them together and then multiply the answer by the third one. And that is exactly what we do in this case when we've got 3 brackets. Okay, so let's have a look at this question then. Let's start with this one. So y plus 3 times y plus 2 times y minus 1. So we're just going to do like we would have done here. We're going to multiply the first 2 brackets together, and then we're going to multiply our answer by the third one. So we're going to do this times this and then multiply by that. Okay, so when we're doing that, we're going to keep our answer to our first one in a bracket, and we're going to keep our y minus 1 at the end there because we're going to multiply by that one later. Okay, so multiplying out our 2 brackets, I'm going to do it today by drawing lines, I think. So y times y is y squared. Then we've got y times 2 is plus 2y. Then we've got 3 times y is plus 3y. And then we've got 3 times 2 is So we've got a plus 6. Okay, now before we do any more multiplying, let's just notice here that we've got two things that can be added together here. Combining, simplifying by collecting like terms. Okay, so what we've got is y squared plus 5y plus 6. And we're going to multiply that by y minus 1. But have a look at that. That's what we were doing yesterday, isn't it? It's multiplying a bracket that's got 3 terms by a bracket that's got 2 terms. So we know what to do with this. We can either do it as a table, or we can draw lines, or we can break the first bracket. It doesn't matter. Let's do this one by breaking the first bracket. So we'd have y squared times y minus 1 plus 5y times y minus 1 plus 6 times y minus 1. Okay, so multiplying out all these brackets then, we're going to get y cubed minus y squared from the first one. And then we're going to get plus 5y squared minus 5y. And then from the third bracket, 6y minus 6. Okay, so we've multiplied out this to get that to get that, and that to get that. So altogether what we've got is y cubed. Actually, let me just take those little circles off there so they don't confuse us. So we've got y cubed, and then if we look at y squared, we've got a minus y squared and a plus 5y squared. So we've got plus 4y squared altogether. Then we've got a minus 5y and a plus 6y. So that gives us plus 1y. And then we've still got our minus 6 on the end. Okay, so that's the answer then. When you multiply out those 3 brackets that we started with, this is what you get in the end. Okay, so it's only the first step that's different. Otherwise, we're just multiplying 2 brackets together, aren't we, like we were doing yesterday? Okay, so let's have a look at some more examples. We'll do a couple more, and then you will have everything that you need to be able to do the assignment that I gave you. The last couple of questions on there, you needed today's and yesterday's lessons to do them. So let's, like I say, just do a bit of practice just now. We don't need to take too long over this, do we? So next one we'll multiply out is x plus 2 times, let's do it in different order this time, 3 minus x times x plus 5. Okay, so things don't always happen in the same order. I don't want you to be thinking that that's always the case. So what we're going to do is multiply the first 2 brackets together and then multiply by the third one. It doesn't have to be that order. We could, if we wanted to, multiply these 2 together and then multiply by that one. Or we could multiply that one and then multiply our answer by that one. But there's nothing to be gained from doing it any particular way, to be honest, so we might as well do it in the order that it's written. So we're going to multiply the first 2 brackets first and get a big bracket that will be multiplied by x plus 5 on the end there. So multiplying out here, we're going to do x times 3 is 3x. Then we've got x times negative x, so that's negative x squared. Then plus 6 and minus 2x. Okay, so when we simplify that first bracket there, we're going to have minus x squared, and then we've got a plus 3x and a minus 2x, so that's plus x and plus 6. And that's going to be multiplied by x plus 5. Okay, so now we're going to multiply these 2 brackets together, and I think we'll use a table this time. So first bracket across the top, minus x squared, x and 6, and then we've got x and 5 down this side. So remember, we're just going to fill in the 6 spaces now. So first space, we've got negative x squared times x, so that gives us a negative x cubed. The next space is x times x, so that's plus x squared. Okay, the next space, we've got plus 6x. The space down here, we've got 5 times negative x squared. So we've got negative 5x squared. Then we've got 5 times x in this one. And 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, so that's our 6 terms. And if we have a look at what we're putting together there, we'll be able to link, oh, goodness me, where did that line come from? We'll be able to link our x squareds and our x's. Okay, so when we multiply this out then, we're going to get a negative x cubed. We're going to get, we've got minus 5x squared plus x squared. So we've got minus 4x squared there. Then we've got 5x and 6x, so we've got plus 11x. And then at the end, we've got plus 30. So when we multiply out those 3 brackets, that's what we end up with overall at the end of it. Okay, so we used a couple of different techniques drawing that one. We used lines and we used a table. So remember in the first one, we used lines and then we broke the first bracket. Okay, so we've got different ways of doing these and it doesn't really matter as long as your way works. Okay, and it's clear, it has to be clear what you're doing. Okay, now let me tell you that sometimes, in assessments or homeworks or whatever, I've seen something like x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x minus 8 or something like that. And people just start drawing lines on things kind of randomly and you end up with a whole load of nonsense if you do that. So what you mustn't do is try and multiply out these 3 brackets together. That's just a no-go. Okay, I don't want anybody trying to do that because it doesn't work. So don't even think about it. Okay, so we're going to do one more example for today and then we'll be done and you can practice. So our next example, let's just start a new page for this one. Oh, we're going to run out of space. Okay, better write small. So this one we're going to do, let's change the letter, t plus 4, 2t minus 1 and 3t minus 2. So we've got more negatives in this one. Actually, I'll tell you what we're going to do. Forget that. I'm going to get rid of that. And I'm going to make that a squared. Okay, just in case you're wondering what to do with this. So when you see a squared bracket, don't forget that all it means is you've got your t plus 4 in the first place and then this bracket multiplied by itself. So we've got 2t minus 1 and 2t minus 1. Okay, and you'll know from what we've done about multiplying out 2 brackets that when you multiply out 2t minus 1 times 2t minus 1, you don't just multiply these 2 first things together and the last things together. Remember, there's going to be 4 terms from this, whichever way we do it. Okay, so let's do what we've been doing. We're going to multiply the first 2 brackets together and then we're going to multiply our answer by the third one. So I think for this method, probably I would personally choose to draw lines. But it's up to you what you do. Like I say, your way has to work. That's the only deal. Okay. So what we're going to do is going to multiply these first 2 brackets together. So that's going to give us 2t squared minus t plus 8t minus 4. Okay, I'm not explaining that in great detail because we've done quite a few of those already. I don't want to let anybody get too bored. Okay, so let's simplify that. 2t squared plus 7t minus 4, and we're multiplying that by 2t minus 1. Okay, so we're going to go lines again. But remember, when you've got a bracket with 3 terms and a bracket with 2, it's easier if you draw the lines from the bracket with 2 terms. If you try and draw them from the bracket with 3, they go all crisscross and a bit rubbish. So I'm going to do that times that, that times that, and that times that. And then we're going to do this one times that, that times that, and that times that. Okay, so let's just do that, and that'll be us for today. So that first line along the top there, this one, 2t squared times 2t, so 2 times 2 is 4, so we've got 4t cubed, remember, because it's t squared times t. Okay, then our second line here, we've got 7t, positive 7t times positive 2t, so we've got plus 14t squared. Okay, you mustn't forget about the powers, always double check those. Then we've got a negative 4 times a positive 2t, so that'll give us a negative 8t. Okay, then we're looking at this negative 1 multiplying everything. So we've got negative 1 times 2t squared, so that's minus 2t squared. Then we've got negative 1 times 7t, so that's negative 7t. And then we've got negative 1 times negative 4, so that'll give us plus 4. And then it's just a case of simplifying and we're done. Okay, so we've got 4t cubed, and then 14t squared here, positive 14t squared, minus 2t squared gives us plus 12t squared. Then we've got minus 8t, minus 7t, so that's minus 15t. And then we've got our plus 4. So that's us all done there. So now we know how to do all of the multiplying out brackets section. If we just switch back to that, we've now done multiplying 3 brackets together. So like I say, tomorrow will be practice. Okay, right, see you tomorrow.